The Sea King by Jane Yolen. Once in a certain land in a certain kingdom there was a king who was out shouting. He aimed at an eagle. "Do not shoot me," cried the eagle. "Some day I shall be useful to you." So the king relented and took the eagle back to his palace. There the eagle ate and ate and ate some more until there was nothing left in the kingdom, no cattle, grain, foods, or fish. "How is this useful to me?" asked the worried king. "Climb on my back," said the eagle, "and you shall see." So the king climbed upon the eagle's back, and away they flew over the ocean. Then 3 times the eagle dropped the king into the water, and 3 times plucked him from the waves. "Now, my king, you know the fear of death just as I did," said the eagle, and the king agreed. They flew on until they came upon a boat, and the eagle set the king down upon it, saying, "No, now I will leave you, sir, but on the boat you will find 2 coffers, one green, one red. Do not open them until you are home. Open the red one in the back garden and the green in the front garden." And away the eagle flew, leaving the king alone on the boat. Before long the king came to a certain island. On going ashore his curiosity overcame him, and he opened the red coffer. Out came so many cows there was hardly room on the little island for them all. "How shall I gather this herd together?" the king wondered aloud. Then suddenly he beheld a man rising up out of the water, who had a fish tail instead of legs, and a crown on his head. "I shall gather your herd," said the seaman, "and put them back into the red coffer, but only on one condition." "Name it," said the king. "I am the Mazarka-Tazar, the king of the sea. Give me that which you do not know is in your house." The king thought, "I know everything in my house," and so he agreed. Then the Mazarka-Tazar did as he had promised, and the king sailed happily for home. What should he learn on returning home? His wife had given birth to a son. He wept as he held the child, fearing to tell his wife the truth that all unknowing he had promised a boy to the Sea King. But then he smiled, thinking, "This Mazarka-Tazar does not know where I live." So having convinced himself that his son was safe, and the king went out into the back garden and opened the red coffer. Out came cattle and sheep and goats beyond counting. When he went into the front garden and opened the green coffer, there appeared flowers and fruits of every size and hue. The king was in such rapture at the return of all the eagle had eaten, and more, that he promptly forgot his promise to the Sea King. Years passed, but promises do not. One day the king was walking by the river. Suddenly out of the water came the very same seaman who said, "You have forgotten your debt to the Mazarka-Tazar. Now you must pay." What could the king do? He went back and told the queen and the prince the truth. They wept together, but at last the prince said, "Mother, father, you have always told me to tell the truth. You have always cautioned me to keep my word." So he walked down to the water's edge and waited. He waited and waited some more. When nothing happened at the water's edge, he tired of waiting, and he turned and walked into the woods. Soon he found a little hut that stood on spindly chicken feet. In that hut, though he did not know it, lived Baba Yaga, the witch. When she heard him, she came out of the hut and smiled at him with her iron teeth. The prince spoke to her politely, as his parents had taught him to behave, which was lucky, otherwise he might have been eaten. "Go back to the seashore, my son," she said. "There 12 spoonbills will turn into 12 lovely maidens bathing. Take the dress of the eldest, then you will be ready to go to the Mazarka-Tazar." "Thank you, grandmother," said the prince, again politely. This was lucky, as she still could have eaten him. So the prince went back to the shore and did as Baba Yaga instructed. Once he had hold of her dress, the eldest maiden could not fly away. "Please return what you have taken," she said, "and I shall be useful to you." He did so, but asked, Pray tell me your name." "Valicia, the wise," she said, when she put on her dress, turned into a spoonbill, and flew away her sisters toward the sun. Now the prince set off to find the Mazarka-Tazar, swimming deeper and deeper into the water, until at last he came to a great palace with walls of shimmering crystal. Swimming in front was the very same Sea King that his father had met so long ago. "I have been waiting for you," said the Mazarka-Tazar, "but as your father was slow in sending you to me, you must now build me a crystal bridge in one night, or else you will lose your head." The prince sat down in front of the Sea King's palace and wept, because of course he could not do such a thing. "I lost my mother, I lost my father," he cried. "I shall see you no more." Along came Felicia, the girl who had been the spoonbill. Go to sleep, the morning is wiser than the evening. She sang him to sleep, and when he was snoring gave a mighty whistle. From everywhere swam fish-tailed workmen to do her bidding, and the bridge was completed before sunrise. Then Felicia woke the prince, who was greatly revealed. She handed him a broom, and he swept the bridge clean. "Bravo," said the Mazarka to Czar, "but there is yet another task. I desire a garden by tomorrow, tall trees flowering with ripe fruit and birds flying everywhere. Otherwise I will have your head." The prince sat in front of the Sea King's palace and wept, because of course he could not do any such thing. "Alas, my mother! Alas, my father!" he cried. "I shall see you no more." Along came Felicia once again. "Go to sleep, the morning is wiser than the evening." She sang him to sleep, and when he was snoring gave a mighty whistle. From everywhere came fish-tailed gardeners to do her bidding, and by morning there was a garden to gladden the heart of any Sea King. When the Mazarka Tsar saw the garden, he smiled. "You have done well twice," said the Mazarka Tsar, "and I would be glad to have you as my son-in-law. Choose a bride from my 12 daughters, but beware, they all look alike. If you choose the same girl 3 times, she will be your wife. But if you mistake one for another, I will have your head." "Do not worry," Felicia whispered to the prince. "I will marry you. So listen carefully. The first time I shall wave a handkerchief. The second time I shall adjust my dress. The third time a fly should settle on my head." The prince nodded. Then out came the 12 sisters, dressed alike in red dresses with white embroidery. Their head dresses are strong boned, with eyes the color of the sea. "Choose," said the Mazarka Tsar. The prince looked carefully, and as he did, one of the princesses waved a handkerchief. "That one," he said. The Sea King smiled again. This time the 12 princesses danced around and around, and when they finally came to a halt, they looked as alike as herrings on a plate. But one of them pulled at the skirt of her dress. "That one," said the prince. The Mazarka Tsar smiled. "Again," he said. This time when the 12 princesses shifted around, the prince was turned around as well. And when they had all stopped, the Sea King said, "No one is to move." All of the princesses stood still, but a little fly flew around and about one of the princesses, and landed upon her headdress. "That one," said the prince, pointing. The Sea King smiled, Felicia smiled, and the prince smiled too. So the prince and Felicia, the wives, were married, and after their fathers died, they ruled both land and sea for the rest of their days.